What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here. Welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I am your host, Private Eye Russ, owner, operator, full-service private investigation and consulting firm. Criminal defense investigations, corporate theft investigations, litigation support investigations, premarital background investigations, strategic planning. If you need any of these services or more, I'm particularly adept at real-world problem solving, okay? Reach out to me. There are links in the description below, website, email address. Follow me on X, send me a DM if you need to, and we will work your problem out. All right, so let's go straight into this. This one is an infidelity indicator, meaning if this is a, and the infidelity indicators are not 100% etched in stone, okay? So it's an indicator. It's an indicator meaning that this is something you need to look out for and you should be careful of if you are married to or you have a woman or wife who is working in one of these fields or displays certain behaviors, right? So this one is she works in a male-dominated field or office, okay? And I put in there, especially salesmen. We posted that on the Discord server yesterday, and you'll get a clue on some of these things that we're going to be posting on Discord. So join the Discord server. Oh, before I go any further, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this and everything else I post. I'm open to suggestions as well too. So, and again, before I go further, thank you for every one of you who has liked, subscribed, shared, especially the subscribers. I appreciate it. And the people who comment in the comment section below. Thank you so much, every single one of you. All right, so let's go ahead with this. So your wife works or your girlfriend or your significant other works in a male-dominated society. This is geared towards men who are in a heterosexual relationship with women. Now, there will be other categories that will be, male, female, certain members of the LGBTQ plus community as well too, because I've worked on cheating cases where guys were cheating on their boyfriends or husbands, women were cheating on their wives or girlfriends, and so cheating is not strictly limited to heterosexual relationships. Everybody can cheat, and not everybody does, but people from all over the place cheat, right? So we're trying to help all of you have an indication of whether or not your significant other is cheating. So male-dominated societies or male-dominated professions. I first noticed this when I was in the military. All right, so the guys I worked with, every single one of us was jacked. Everybody was a fire-breathing maniac and a monster as far as physicality. And the women that worked in these groups, whether they were married or single, usually wound up linking up with one of the guys. That's just how it was. Now, why is that? You'll see the same thing with law enforcement. The only people who cheat more than firefighters are cops. Cops cheat a bunch as well too. So if your wife or significant other is working with these guys on a regular basis, right, what you have to consider is this. Number one, if you are not in shape and at the top end of physicality, she's going to be comparing. It's just natural to compare. She's going to be comparing you to other people as well too, and she's going to say, Private Eye Russ just is not in as good a shape as Jim Dandy over here with Firefighter Crew 24 or whatever it might be, right? Or this SWAT team member I met the other day on a call. And so, that amount of, women around that, that group of men, that type of men, first of all, the men are going to be very aggressive and sexually aggressive, not necessarily in a negative or forceful way, if you know what I mean, but they're going to be very aggressive and they're going to be trying to link up and hook up. Doesn't matter if she's married, single, doesn't even matter if you know them. They could know you personally. It doesn't matter. So when I say especially salesmen, here's what you especially have to look out for. Salesmen have a unique ability. I used to do sales, still do to a certain extent. When you own a business, you are in sales, period. You are in sales. And so I do have to sell sometimes. And so salesmen have an ability to talk people into doing things. And now imagine instead of just having a sales call for a half an hour or an hour or sometimes 3 hours, I've actually gotten a lot of business done playing golf with people. You've got a captive audience for 2.5, 3 hours, especially here in Florida. Even with the carts, 2.5 hours, you're going to be on the links, for 18 holes. And so you've got a lot of time to slow roll that sale. Imagine now this person is working in the office with your significant other, and they're working in the office 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. They're able to work on that sale for more hours of the day than you get to see your significant other during the week. So they're spending more waking hours with your significant other than you are. So how long before they break? Maybe they don't. In many cases, they do. And so again, as a licensed private investigator, have I seen this happen a bunch of times? Yes, I have. And so some of you may or may not know, I was once at one point a police officer, and right now I'm a licensed private investigator. I own a private investigation firm and consulting firm. I'm also a licensed bail bondsman. And so there was a term when I was a cop, and it's still around, called badge bunnies. A badge bunny, and you cops know, a badge bunny are women who love dealing with cops in a fun bedroom activity manner. And so it's the same thing there. Same thing with firefighters. When it comes to hierarchy or guys that will cheat and mess around with on their spouses or with your wife or your girlfriend, firefighters up above and beyond. Number one, they're almost always in really good shape just by the nature of their job. They're usually in really good shape. Cops, I've seen some cops that have kind of let themselves go and are not very good shape. Hopefully that changes. I wasn't one of those cops. I stayed in shape. Just because I think, physically you need to be at your peak if you're working in a profession like that. But, some people are at different stages of fitness, right? So when you have that sort of environment, that testosterone-filled environment, you're going to have a lot of very aggressive men. And I know guys have this thing where they think, okay, if my wife is not an 8, 9, or 10, they're not going to bother with her. No. Trust me, there's somebody for everybody. I've seen guys that were literally built like Thor from the Avengers movies hook up with women that most people would classify as a 3 or a 4 physically and looks-wise. They're just going to because it's available. And it's, it's easier than going home and logging on to www.whatever, boobs.com and engaging manual override. You know what I mean when I say engaging manual override? I'm not going to be graphic about it, but you understand what I'm saying. So if you have a wife or a significant other that is working in, or a girlfriend is working in one of these fields, you have to be really, really careful and cautious, and you have to understand what you're seeing before things occur, or if they're occurring. So if she starts doing things like going to work lunches with people, working after hours, on long phone calls after work with, claiming they're with coworkers, or in Zoom calls with coworkers after hours, you got to watch out, especially if this is the same person over and over again. That individual's trying to work his way into your girl's physical fun bedroom activity roster, right? And so if you have a case where your significant other and her workplace has work-based activities, but they're open to spouses and things like that, they're after hours, lunches, dinners, other activities, and you are not getting invited. I'm not saying that means that they are cheating. Remember, it's an indicator, right? And you've got to add these things up and then take action yourself, based on what you see and what you know about their circumstances, right? So if you see this occurring, or if you see your spouse has, taken a, kind of a standoff approach about her work activities, you've got to take action. You've either got to look into it, hire an investigator, or start investigating on your own, or if you really think there's a really strong indicator, maybe you have a talk with them. But what I always say is, if you think someone's cheating on you, don't say anything to them. Don't say a word, because if you do investigate, or if you do hire an investigator like myself, it makes it more difficult if they're covering their tracks, which means it's going to be more expensive for you to figure out what's going on. Had this all the time, where guys will confront a woman about cheating and then, say, oh, I found your iCloud, this, that, and the other thing. Well, here's what's going to happen. They're going to plug up those holes and those leaks and make sure that information is not available, which will make it much more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult. So don't do that, all right? Be cautious. Be aware of what's going on. And if you see these signs, this is when your ears need to perk up and you need to understand what's going on. All right, and there will be more of these coming forward in the future. Again, this is Private Eye Russ. If you've gotten any value out of this, please like. It doesn't cost you anything. It's very valuable to us. We're at 1,300 subscribers. Let's try to get to 1,500, then 2,000. All right, subscribe. Every single one counts. Share the videos. Comment in the videos. Help defeat the YouTube algorithm by flooding comments. Even if you just say, hey, what's going on? Hi, how are you? Doesn't matter. One guy, I don't remember his name right now, but he always clicks thanks, Russ, on every single video. No, thank you, my friend. Thank you for doing that consistently every single time. All right. So join the Discord server, where I am going to be, my moderator, private investigator Chuck, is going to be posting some of these infidelity indicators. Maybe not every day, but we'll be posting something pretty regularly every couple of times a week. And if you guys want to discuss in this Discord server as well, too, I'm still figuring it out. So please bear with me. I'm doing all this stuff all while running my business, the cases I have, other investigators I have subcontracted, either locally or remotely around the country, and even some internationally. So time is always at a premium for me. I'm shooting this one right now at I think it's about 2 a.m. So you guys see what kind of time I'm on. So again, this is your boy Private Eye Russ. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in.